What's going on, people? What's going on? This is Raashaan Myers, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio, Wake Up 502 host, joining you live on a jumping Wednesday night for Breakdown 502. Joined by my man, 50 grand, who's sporting his old school Heisman Cardinal. I love it. I love it. Romy Bean, Romy Kelly. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be chatting with you here on a Breakdown 502 edition, our weekday show that we do here during the
Yeah.
U of L season and off season. And it's some exciting things to get into. Excited to hear what your stance is on some of these things and maybe
and and I'm
think out.
I'm just telling y'all now, we are not gonna sit here and talk a whole bunch about Jeff Brom and Josh Hurd and their little slap contest or whatever they call this right now. I don't care. Louisville's got a football coach. Louisville has an athletic director. Y'all need to kiss and make up. I don't care. Share a sandwich or something. Get over
Yeah,
it. So I we are not talking about that. I don't care. I know who my football team is. I know who Louisville's quarterback is. Louisville has Isaac Brown back. After that, Roman, I don't know about you, but like I'm good on the football. Like all this. Jeff Brom's going to be the coach this year, so
yeah, that's all that
I will.
matters. And you
I'll,
know he's
I'll
gonna.
I'll worry about the rest of that mess later, man. But we are here. We are talking about a little postseason Louisville basketball. There's a lot of stuff going on, Roman. Haven Harrington should be along here in a little bit, so we'll get Haven's thoughts as well as we go through tonight. But wanted to get on with you, Roman. You weren't able to be on the show on Saturday. You were handling, you were just post handling your duties for the Louisville Kings. So congratulations once again on that. How are you feeling after that? Are you I know you're off this week, so you can kind of collect your thoughts. How did you feel everything went with that, man?
I thought it went well. I thought I improved throughout it, which was my goal. I was nervous at the very start of it, having not been in front of a crowd that big, doing something like that. But
Yeah.
being behind the mic is obviously something that pretty much everything that I've done up until this point has kind of trained me for. So I was prepared. It's no different than reading some spots at the radio station and trying to incorporate new ways you read them when it's the same one you do every other time, right? And just doing a little bit louder with a little bit more energy and showing my personality, which is nothing that I'm not used to already, right? So it was fun, great experience. I was shocked by how many fans like were. No, I guess not really.
it,
Like I heard it was sold out, but then
it
you
looked good.
really,
It looked good on TV. It looked
it was
really good. Have you
true.
gone
Like
back to watch the replay? Have you gone back to watch the replay
not
on
yet.
Fox? Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna do so in the morning because we got the Thursday radio show, so I want everything I watch to be fresh on it. I caught a good chunk of the game, obviously being out on the field for most of it, but still a lot of plays that I didn't get to watch from the I'm not gonna say analyst perspective, but from the radio talker perspective. So I'm gonna rewatch that tomorrow for the 3-man front radio show that we have on Thursdays on the Big X and see what we missed out on, but it looked like from what I saw, the pass game has the opportunity to be something that can work. If they make a couple of tweaks in that O line for the run game, and you can have that a part of some your scheme as well that you can rely on, then I think this Kings team can be good. And if this Kings team is good, then they're going to keep selling tickets and they're going to continue to be a hit team here in
Yeah.
Louisville. So that's obviously the goal.
I mean, people were super impressed. I mean, everything, when people talked about the UFL, a lot of the people that were watching the UFL is kind of an oddity to see what it was going to look like. I think that the city of Louisville did a great job putting their best foot forward. Over 14,000 fans there in attendance. The energy in the crowd, it looked great on TV. So good job. Like Louisville always shows up, man. If there's a big event happening and especially if it's a sporting event and you have a winning product to put out there, like the heyday of the Louisville Fire, people are going to show up. So if the Kings can put a quality product out there, I think they're going to have, they're going to have an opportunity to have, a great season and a great following. So the Kings Court, hopefully everybody's going to come out and be a part of that.
Yes, yes.
So good job, Louisville. Y'all stand up. But Roman, we got to get into it, man. So of course we know Louisville basketball fell in the round of 32. lost to the most hated Michigan State Spartans. Tom Izzo has gotten the best of Louisville three of the four times that they have faced off. It happened again. Kind of figured it was going to happen. We kind of knew what was going to spell the demise of Louisville basketball this season. We talked about it since what January, that it was pretty much confirmed that when Louisville had to face their first big physical presence, more than likely that was going to be the end of Louisville's run, and it ended up playing out pretty much just like we said. I mean,
Yep.
um, Coach Kelsey, of course, talked about being down because this team did not live up to he kept saying this team is going to turn the corner. They're going to do something special. They're going to do something special. They did win a game, which is nothing to sneeze at. The first game that they've won in the postseason since 2017. That they were able to, get that notch in their belt. Coach Kelsey was able to get a personal notch in his belt with his first postseason win in the NCAA tournament. So, congratulations to him for that. But Roman, this is the University of Louisville. Like a single win in
That's
the
the bare
NCAA
minimum.
tournament. Yeah, that's called waking up in the morning. Like that, we expect to get up out of bed, A, and make the tournament, and B, win the first game. Like that's not even a thing. It's definitely more about progressing in the NCAA tournament. It feels like Coach Kelsey has really put his impressions that what happened this year was not good enough. Coach Brian Cloman made the announcement that he's moving on. He moved to Auburn and took a position there, pretty much the same position that he had with Louisville at Auburn, as kind of like a GM type as well as an assistant role down there, but kind of identifying talent, things of that nature. They did just bring in or sign a big 7-footer, and then of course Thomas Carr ended up transitioning in a similar position to Indiana. So a couple of coaches out.
Wish
You
you
just
guys
got
the best.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
But shakeup was needed.
it was needed, and of course today we got the news that how do you say the guy's name again? Andreas or
Andershek.
Andershek, thank you. Yeah, Coach Andershek, who comes to us from Campbell. He was a top assistant with the Florida Gators. Now comes to Louisville as associate head coach. He's a guy that I enjoyed the breakdown that Mike Rutherford had this afternoon, kind of explaining what Coach Andershek can bring to the program. He's a guy who excels on the defensive side of the ball. He's a guy who excels in handling and optimizing what big men can do in a up pace, up tempo type system, which is exciting as well because, when you talk about Louisville basketball in 2025-26, a lot of their deficiencies, were around those two spots. A, not having, enough big men, and B, not really being able to defend at a level to make things happen. So, Roman, just kind of with this addition, like with the loss of the two coaches and then Coach Andershik coming in, at least from a coaching standpoint, coaching staff standpoint, do you like these moves?
Yeah, I do. I think when you look at what Louisville's issues were, a lot of the issues came from the defensive end. And then I don't like to blame the front court, but we had some issues with trying to work out kinks in the front court throughout the season, right? And a couple of
Yeah,
those coaches were kind of directly at hand in the improvement and the development and the impact and changing those things. So I think it was a needed change to move on from a couple of guys. And Coleman obviously had moved on into from the position from year one into year two, and then you see the kind of shift in the defensive end. And I think that is a priority when they looked in who they were going to try to replace them with. And you
yeah,
went and got a coach who was apparently like the defensive coordinator s type of position for that Florida team that went on to win a championship.
yeah,
And he was a major part in the recruitment of the players he brought in that he felt he needed defensively, the bigs that they had. So I'd imagine that there's some philosophy things in his recruiting ideas that he's going to bring to the table, some names he's going to bring to the table that we may or may not have been out already on for, but
yeah,
there's going to be an emphasis on it now. And apparently he's like Mike had mentioned, kind of one of those basketball crazy defensive guys. You heard what he had said about watching every single Houston and Iowa State game in the last 3 seasons, trying to figure out just what they're doing differently and how it's working, right? And he concluded some things. So I expect us to be a team that prioritizes defense differently, and you see an uptick on us being a defensive team overall.
Yeah, no doubt. I totally agree with you, and I think that that shift was needed. This guy is coming in seeming to be a counterbalance to Coach Kelsey, to where it seemed like everybody who was on the coaching staff last year was more of a yes man and just kind of followed behind Kelsey. But Coach Andeshek is a guy who's not from Coach Kelsey's tree. He's not a guy who's coming in here that needs to feel like he bows down to Coach Kelsey. He's a guy who helped win a national
You
championship.
got a ring already.
He's already got a ring. He's done everything that Coach Kelsey wants to do. Now, granted, he was an assistant, not the head coach, but he's a guy who's seen a lot. So you would think that he would be a guy that Coach Kelsey would lean on and would listen to if he gave suggestions, whether it be personnel related, whether it be game related, whether it be preparation related. You would think that his word is going to carry a lot of weight. So I mean, as far as at least to start this offseason, Roman, with this being the first official addition to the men's basketball program, you've got to be excited, right? Like I think that this was about the best first addition that you could ask for with a coach that has championship pedigree, right?
100%. You're, I mean, you're obviously paying him more than what Campbell would be paying him to be the head coach, but it's not like you had to go break the bank to bring in some name that you felt was going to be like you know, I don't know, a media changing kind of a name for you. You went and got one of
Right.
those still, but with it's the young guy version of one of those, right? He was on the best under 40 list for the young
Yes.
coaches in college basketball right now. I think this is the kind of guy that you can, I mean, maybe kind of let him come in here and install his philosophy defensively, see how he likes to operate defensively over a couple of years, bring in an extra assistant or two, also young, to watch what he's doing and learn on the side as well. Because I'm not saying this is a cornerstone kind of a spot, but this is the kind of place at Louisville where if you succeed here, you do it over a couple years span, few years span, you're going to be able to go get a head coaching job, like take a Jay Lucas kind of a route,
Right.
right? If Louisville
Right.
goes and has some success rather than a Campbell kind of a route, which I think, obviously Florida's coming off of a national championship. He probably, I don't know what the time of when he accepted the Campbell job and how the carousel looked at the time, but you
Right.
go back to the power conference, that team succeeds again. Now you look at like, hey, look what happens when I'm at Florida. Look what happens when I'm at Louisville. Seton Hall, Creighton, whoever it may be. Let
Yeah.
me let me come show you how I work now, and you kind of bank on him staying for a few years to establish that. So I like that it's a young guy you can kind of build around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a total from what I have learned about him. I definitely think it's a home run hire. It's no shade to any of the older coaches that have been brought up. That could have been coming in as a veteran voice. To be able to get a young coach with as much experience and as much proven success, you couldn't ask for a better ad. So I definitely think that that's going to be huge, and I think the other part of that is getting him in there and getting him signed on the dotted line before you start putting together this roster for next year, so that if there are names that he has in his Rolodex, or the types of guys that he feels will fit better in what Louisville needs to be successful, now he has input in that room in all these decisions, and Louisville hasn't already signed or committed to any guys, at least that we know of so far. Now, I
Yeah.
know that
If
there's
there's
not
a
the most.
young freshman or sophomore bucket getter down
Yes.
at Campbell that needs to come, watch how we rock in the ACC for a year or two and then learn how
Yeah.
to play at this level, then this is the kind of he can maybe bring something like that. You never know the
Or
names he was
guys that he's
recruiting.
been watching all year in the CAA. There
Got
could be other
exactly
players on other teams that he
names that he
scouted.
recruited at Florida
Yeah.
that they didn't succeed on potentially that are still now back in the portal this year. They're like, hey, remember when you were interested in Florida and whatever, come to Louisville. We're going to be very similar to what we had at Florida during their championship run. You have
Yeah.
that kind of spiel in your pitch to a lot of these players now as well. I think that that's major with the connections he's made in the CAA, and then whatever he was able to do down in Florida with both his SEC connections and the foreign connections that they have. I think it's huge.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just think that this is going to help Louisville in so many different avenues. It's I don't think you could have done much better than what they did with that hire. And I know that they feel like they're going to go out there and they're going to get at least one more guy with Coach Andershet coming in taking that associate head coaching role. You would think the other assistant's going to be more of a X's and O's bench coach, maybe a true big man coach, just somebody who has some experience. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that other spot, whether it's going to be a staffer role because Coach Kloman did transition into that general manager role, or whether they look to get some other position coach type role. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think the big fish was the guy who got announced today, Roman. I think that was the important guy. Not to say that both positions won't be important, but I think that this was the big hire that Louisville needed to make. So it's great that they got that out of the way. Now they can kind of fully turn towards the roster management. And that's where I want to discuss with you. First of all, of course, we want to talk about the moves that are known. And of course, the two moves that are known is that both Sananda Fru and Kanai Roos have officially hit the portal. Two of Louisville's biggest, longest athletic bodies that they had this past year. I've seen some people on social media saying, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe we lost these two guys. These are the only big men. These are the only athletes that Louisville has." I've seen other people say, you know, "Good luck in your future endeavors." Where do you sit with the two guys that we know will probably more than likely not be a part of Louisville moving forward?
Sananda, good riddance. Go make your money, my man. Apparently, you're getting offers for seven figures, high seven-figure offers.
That's wild. I heard that today.
Go, go, go take those. Go get what you can get. Because maybe things would have been different under. There's that little tick in me that I feel like I'm already knowing what's going to happen. We're going to get a couple of bigs, and under Andershek, one or two of them, maybe even like the three out of the total of them, all of them add something to their game. We're gonna be like, well, Sananda can kind of do a little bit of all of that. What was Sananda have looked like under Andershek, right? I know
Right.
that my brain's gonna say that a little bit, especially if Sananda goes to another power conference team and plays at an extremely high level. Like I don't even know, because we know he can play at a high level at times. I think there's question marks on the motor when he's due to his involvement at times in possessions, right? And I
Yeah.
think that ultimately the overall knowledge and confidence on his ability and know-how to throw his body and weight around, it just wasn't there for what we need, right? And
Yeah.
I think that you bring in Andershek, like from what I just said, I think that kind of goes both ways. It's almost like it's a two-sided point, because I want a full reset with the bigs outside of Zugris, because I think Zugris has the things you need for that third big. I think Zugris is the absolute perfect third big on your team, right? That
Yeah,
which
but
should be an 11th
Scuttlebutt
man.
says Zoo wants to get paid, Roman. I mean,
Yeah, so come on now, Evangelist. Come on now. Come on now. You know better. Um, well, you should know better. But I'm okay with Fru being on the move, man. I'm okay with it. Sananda, I hate to say it, but I'm okay with it as well. Like that's kind of my whole point around that, is the fact that I feel not good about the fact that I'm okay with him leaving, because at the end of the day, a 6'10, 6'11, 7 foot wingspan with that kind of athleticism, not being able to just go out there and get a bucket in year two, and not being in a system that was going to go out there and let him play the minutes he needed to learn how to go do it in year three, I'm okay with it. He wasn't going to get his opportunity to play 25 minutes a night here. I think the Kanai Roots play type, the player type, it needs to be on the floor 30 minutes tonight, right? It needs to be playing for USF, Brian. It's
yeah,
small forward, power forward kind of combo of a player. It doesn't need to be playing 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes for Louisville, not getting allowed to shoot, not getting allowed to dribble, not getting allowed to make mistakes. And a team that's also going to have a fluctuating offense that's asking him to do a lot, right? He needs to be attacking the offensive glass, diving to the basket, rolling to the basket, catching lobs, and on a team that's going to let him in the half court against teams of their caliber,
Right.
break his man down off the dribble and make those mistakes and learn how to go get buckets, because at the moment the athleticism is the only way he can do it. That's not enough for Louisville basketball with what we're trying to be. Now on the other side of off the court stuff, it sucks because I think you look at what Roos is, he's been, like Mike mentioned earlier, doing the cards chant since the day he stepped foot in this city. He's got cards tatted on his leg. He definitely has 100% understanding of the 25 strong and the Pat Kelsey system and what that means.
Oh yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, he knows he's still got a high enough value to where he can go make good money and improve his game and be more of a valuable piece to a team. So I want him to go out there and do that.
The way I look at these two guys is the way I look at this whole roster, and the way like this is a business now, y'all. Like, and this is the way I look at basketball in 2026 is that I don't care about development. I don't care about having guys that around been around 3 or 4 years. I don't care about red shirts. I don't care about any of that. I don't even care about freshmen anymore. And I know that's rough to say, but the reason I say that is because there's only 1 year guaranteed for anybody. And for the players that you have, it's about how do you produce? Like when I go to work every day, my boss looks at me and they say, "What did I produce?" If I'm not producing, then we're gonna have to have a conversation, you know. And if I'm not doing what's expected of me, then maybe the nature of our relationship needs to change. And that's basically the way these things are with the basketball and football in this NIL era. And when I look at these players, Roman, I would ask myself, coming into what we expected and how we paid you coming into the year, how many of these basketball players, Roman, earned their paycheck for what we paid them? Did Sananda Fruit earn what we paid him this year?
Based on what I heard here about the money and what they
He was
said he was
paid
going
like
to
one of the
be,
best big men in the ACC.
no.
Like he was paid like one of the best big men in the ACC, one of the best big men in the country. Kanai was paid like a guy that was going to be Louisville's six man that could come in, be a starter, be an impact guy. Did Kanai live up to that? You know,
No.
I would say no, and that's the way I look at it. To me, I'm gonna
I would
have
say
these
Ryan
conversations.
Conwell and Javon Hadley.
Yeah, Conwell, Hadley, Michael Brown. Those guys lived up and earned their paychecks that were given to them. Now, unfortunately, with Michael, he got hurt.
Michael, you could debate
So,
it. Yeah, you could debate it with the injury.
yeah, I mean,
When he was
he
on
got
the floor,
injured. So
yes. When his on floor
when
product,
he
when
was
he
on the
played,
floor, he
yes.
was the guy that
Yeah.
we paid. Yeah. But,
Now
I mean,
Zugris, I
outside
feel
of
like
those
if you
three
got
guys
Zugris
and
real cheap, if you
maybe
got Zugris real
Zoo,
cheap or something, then I'd say yes. I feel like Zugris was better than even planned, or from the start of the season, right? Like from the once the season started, what you expected, which was nothing compared to the end, Zugris panned out. I can't imagine you gave him too much money there. So I'll say I'll throw Zugris in with Michael and Hadley and Conwell.
yeah,
Outside of that,
I agree.
I don't think so.
I mean, those four guys, I agree. Like those four guys earn their paychecks. To me, of those four guys, guess what, Roman? The only guy who's coming back is Zoo. And from the sounds of it, is expecting a big time. And I'm gonna be like, hold on, Zoo. Now, if we paid you
Yeah,
say
so Zoo may not be
200K,
coming back.
like if we paid you 200K, like Zoo, I'm good with for the two. I feel like you earned your 200K. Maybe we bump you up to 250. Okay, maybe we bump you up to 250. But you're about where we thought you were gonna be. We feel like we paid you properly for a big man that gave us 8 to 10 minutes of strong hustle. You would get a garbage bucket here or there. You're gonna be a fan favorite coming off the bench. That's who we think you are. Now,
He got
if
them
it's true,
two.
Zeus,
He
people's
got them
asking
two
for a
buckets
million
against
dollars.
Michigan State. He got them two buckets against
Yeah, he
Michigan
had
State.
lost his
Now he want to
mind.
want to start in the ACC. He want to.
Yeah, he wants a bag. Yeah, like
I get
and
it.
I
Hey,
feel him.
two few
Like
buckets in
if
March
I'm
Madness.
Zoo, yes, if
I'd have
I'm Zoo,
scored
I'm
it a few
showing that to
times in March
everybody.
Madness.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hey, I tell you what though, you know who would love him, and I think would overpay for him. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Brad Brownell. I think that he would be a dude that Clemson would love. And Clemson would let Zoo go down there and they would probably start him and let him do whatever he wanted. Because that's a Brad
Yep.
Brownell type of guy. Undersized, kind of hard, hustling big guy.
I
You
wouldn't be
know?
surprised.
Like I would, and if Zoo can get paid like that, I'm all about it. Like that's the thing about for all these young men, I will never fault them for going and get their back. That's why I did not fault James Scott for what he did last year. If Ole Miss was willing to give James Scott the bag, man, go get your money. Like I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with that, but at the same time, when I'm putting together my roster and I'm managing the finances for Louisville basketball, I have to look at this from a dollars and cents. And I'm telling Kanai, if you're going to stay, you're going to have to take a pay cut. Fru, if you're going to stay, you're going to have to take a pay cut. I don't know what Mo Kamara and London Johnson's deals were, but based on what we're seeing in uh, I don't think that they both of those guys had already agreed to their packages prior to the season. So we're definitely not revisiting that. Like whatever you agreed to, especially considering that London Johnson refused to play this year because he wanted to get his full NIL check. So we definitely ain't having no conversations about giving you more anything. Like I'm fine with you keeping those two guys if you want to. Now, if they were trash in practice and you feel like I don't think these guys can help us, then you got to let those guys go. But Roman, am I wrong to look at this in such kind of a dead end? Like to me, this is a very transactional relationship now with players and coaches. I mean, am I wrong to say that?
It is. It's unfortunate. It is. It feels like the strongest emotional connection comes with like your walk-ons at this point in time because those are the
Yeah,
only local guys and the multi-year guys ever
yeah,
on the team. But I think at the end of the day, you've got to try your hardest to get guys who are in your culture, right? And if you
yes,
if you hit on those guys 100%, then you should be able to keep them a year or two if they're the right fit on you on the floor as well. Javon Hadley is the perfect example. There's not a lot of teams even find Javon Hadleys. I think if you can get one or two, if you can find a Javon Hadley every couple of years,
hmm,
and you can find one freshman like a Kanai Roos that can be something that's a potential project for you, but that's still he's in
yeah,
that
has the
100 to
potential. Yeah,
200 range. I'm not
yeah,
talking go get somebody that wants $500,000 as a freshman or more. I'm talking go get somebody
right,
that knows they're going to be in college multiple years, like a Fernandez Wright, right? You know what I'm saying? A player like of
right.
that caliber that you can build around. You get one or two of those. You get one or two of a Javon Hadley. You try your hardest and hope that your recruiting class can find you a Adrian Woolley each year, right? And that should be it.
Yeah,
Bigs and the market for the bigs is insane. We see what the bigs are the highest paid guys every year for a reason.
yeah,
That
yeah,
they're fluctuating every single year. The best of the best point guards in college basketball don't go to the portal. They stay
yeah,
like the Seth Trimbles, the which I don't think he's all that good, but the big name kind
yeah,
of guys like that. They're the Chucky Hepburns until they get to their senior year, unless they're at a small school. They stay there, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So you got to you have to be super super methodical, which is crazy to say about a college basketball roster, right? You got to be methodical in your buildup because you're hoping that you should be able to develop anybody over 2 or 3 years time with your know-how as a coach and your offensive guru. If he's an offensive guru and you're in this system for 2 or 3 years, you should be able to be great, right? Like
right.
the Rain Smiths and the Kobe Rogers of the world only happen at the mid-major level. So it's you don't have the luxury of relying on roster retention. You can't rely on roster retention. And the
Yeah,
portal's a risk.
yeah.
You don't. We've seen it. You don't always hit in the portal
Oh,
like you
well, I
think you're
mean,
going to.
I would argue with you that Louisville missed a lot more than they hit over this past season, which is one of the reasons why, I know a lot of people are saying that, Louisville's expectations weren't met. But, when we talk about the fact that pretty much only four guys really met the expectations of what we thought they would be, when you look at the fact that, more than half of your team did not meet their expectations of what we thought we were getting in those players. The fact that Coach Kelsey was able to figure out a way to get that team to be as successful as they were, get that sixth seed, get that first win, not having Michael Brown, for most of the second half of the year and none at all in postseason. I mean, that has to at least give you some. I mean, you have to praise the job that he
I just
did.
so
Now,
Raashaan
the
on
fact,
that point, I because I go both ways
yeah,
on that. I'm like, wow. a bunch of guys who seem like they just don't really get it are still able to average 84 point whatever points per game. They're still able to win this many games in the ACC. He was still able to get this team to be a good team, right? At what point
Right.
are we
Right.
like, and it's tough because I can't point to year one and say this. It's like the opposite. Outside of Noah Waterman, I feel like it's the complete opposite. Uh,
Yeah,
where where I'm
everybody
like,
overshot.
this
Yeah,
guy was better than
everybody
I
was
thought he
just
was going to
as
be.
good
This
or
guy was
better.
better than I
Yeah.
thought he was going to be. This guy was better than I thought he was going to be. But when you look into this year, at what point is it, Pat Kelsey? Why did this many guys not hit? Was it recruiting? Was it your
Yeah.
system, or was it your lack of getting them on this 25 strong train? Because you put an emphasis on that to where I'm gonna make it its own category of importance to where you
Yeah.
say a team can't operate unless it's got this right. So that's its own thing. At what point are we put like, or I guess to say, where is the most blame in those three categories on Pat Kelsey?
That's a point. That's why I think that you can both things can be true, right? Like I think that Pat Kelsey did an excellent coaching job working with a lot of parts that didn't fit, but at the end of the day, it was your job to know that these guys would fit, and they really didn't, and they really struggled. Like Kobe Rogers was not good enough to be the backup point guard for Louisville. Adrian Woolley was not a point guard at all. But you had to basically force him into that role, and he did as good as you could
Because Kobe
ask. You know,
couldn't do it, right?
Isaac
Like,
yeah, exactly, because Kobe couldn't do it. I mean, Isaac McNeely was a guy who you thought would be this sniper and this dude that would be a factor in every game. Come to find out, this guy can't. You know, if you put an athletic wing on him, he's useless. You know, like so many things like that. You know, you gamble on a European big man in Sananda Fru, thinking that he's going to be one of the best big men in the country. To turn around and find out, dude is soft as Charmin. You know, like no, he had talent, but he just was not aggressive enough to play at the top college elite level, which is, somebody's going to pay a whole lot of money to find that out. Because I think that Fru has the skills, he has the build, but right now he's soft as can be, and he listens to a lot of the outside noise, and that's something that you cannot do as an elite level ball player because there's always going to be haters and there's always going to be people talking about you. So I mean, I agree with you, Rome. Like Coach Kelsey is not without fault, and I think that's why being able to come in there and bring in a guy like Coach Andershuck to kind of give you that second pair of eyes to know this is the type of guy that we got at Florida that helped us win a championship. This is the type of guy that we got at Florida to help us win a champ. Looking at these players and saying, yeah, that's the type of dude that we need to go after. I think that's
yeah,
huge, right? To put this together. And I think that Coach Kelsey is going to
I
need
think
that.
he absolutely is going to need it. He is. I think you can look at there's some common denominators in teams the last 3 seasons that have been in the Final Four.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those things in those few common denominators that we don't have. So it's time to go
Yeah.
start taking a page out of their book, incorporating that into what you do well, right? Which I'm not gonna, there's like Mike mentioned it today. Don't abandon your system. Don't stop doing what you're doing, Pat, because there are things that have worked. There is a reason you got the job. There are things that have been very, very impressive, right? You had a record breaking 3-point shooter, a record breaking assister in a game, a record breaking freshman of a scorer, right? All those things. Let's
Hmm.
incorporate that with some. And you look at the number of dunks for James Scott, right? An offense that could create that many dunks. Like you've got some,
Yeah.
you've clearly got a bag, right? Let's add to the
Right.
defensive bag where you've lacked. Let's add to the size and athleticism recruiting bag where you haven't in the past had to rely on, and now are seeming, now
Yeah.
are have learned in live time you're going to have to rely on more. And I think you add those two things, that presence of interiors with bigs, that presence of athleticism with your wing guys, that we should have a list a little bit more of. Incorporate that with the right skill and mentality and personalities. And then I think you can actually be a team that's an elite team, a team that has enough money to build a roster that can go to a Final Four. So it's all there
Yeah.
for you now.
I, Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I agree with you. I think that's going to be to me where Roman will figure out exactly how much Coach Kelsey has learned by how he puts together this roster. And we talked about the McDonald's All American game before we started here, and I talked about how going through and watching Tyron Stokes and watching Tay Kenny and watching Caleb Holt and the rest of the guys, this McDonald's All American class, you have some
Like a
talented
bunch of
kids,
raw
but
freshmen. Raw.
they don't they are
Raw.
not what last year was. Not
Last year
even
was a
close
bunch
to
of
the AJ
walk-in pros,
Devontae,
ready,
the
league ready, damn
Boozers,
near.
Koa Pete's. Yes, like last year, and this is where I think that Louisville has a great advantage, Roman, because a lot of schools have paid a lot of money to these freshmen because of how successful the freshmen were last year. Yes, I'm looking at you, Kansas, because Kansas has paid a lot of money to Tyron
Kenny
Stokes.
to take
I
Kenny, and they're
think that's going to
probably
get
gonna
done.
pay it.
Paid a lot of money to take Kenny.
They're probably
That's
gonna
going
pay
to
it to Stokes.
Yes, so I mean that there's going to be there's a lot of money that's tied into a lot of these freshmen, and I think that that's going to leave an opportunity for Louisville to be able to go out there. To me, in my personal opinion, what you do, Rome, you go out there, you find your 3 or 4 elite guys early, and you get them. Then I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. If I'm Coach Kelsey, I'm gonna let these other schools go out there and spend all their money, spend big on getting this top crop. And then when everybody else is out of money, I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna go grab all of the valuable guys that I can
Yeah.
build in
Oh,
this
they're giving
roster.
you 300,000. We'll give you 375. Come on.
Exactly, and I would like Louisville. To me, I know it's interesting to say, but that's why I'm interested to see, and I'm going to give Kentucky, because I know Coach Pope is under fire right now, but I think that Louisville and Kentucky are actually in advantageous positions, not going out there and spending a bunch of money on these freshmen, because I don't think these freshmen this year are going to be worth nearly what they're going to get paid. I think that this year is going to be a progression back to all of your best players being either transfers or older veteran guys. I don't think freshmen are going to run college basketball this upcoming season, in my personal
I think
opinion.
there's a couple of guards that are going to get the usage to be special, to show
Yeah,
that they're lottery picks.
yeah.
The
Like Jordan Smith
wings,
Jr., I think Jordan Smith will be one of
yep,
those guys
and
for
the
sure.
uh the other one as well. What's the other kid's name?
Darren Rippey, Deron
Rippy,
Rippey.
Rippy,
The,
yeah.
my only issue with Rippey, and I'll tell you this about Deron Rippey, and of course he's going to be with Duke, is he's a lot smaller than I thought he
They
was.
both are. They both are. They
Like
both look like 6'1" out there, and I'm like,
Rippey is like
whoa.
6 foot tall,
I thought
and
y'all were
I thought
both
he was
6'3".
bigger.
Y'all both
Yeah,
look like 6 foot even, six foot
yeah.
one
No,
out there.
Jordan Smith is 6'2". Rippey is 6 foot. Like a lot of these guys were either skinnier or smaller than what I thought they were,
All of
and
them.
that
Stokes,
makes a difference.
Stokes clearly looked like Stokes'
Yes,
legs look like
Stokes
he
is
had the
the real deal.
thickest calves out there.
Yes,
Outside of that, though, like Rippy was way shorter than I anticipated him looking
yeah.
on the court,
He
but
was
the
very
the
little.
the the burst of speed and the
Yeah,
ability to go left
the
and right,
athleticism's there, the quickness
yeah,
is there,
the burst
but
is there. And
at
then
6 foot tall,
The Smith Jr. kid, who's going to be at Arkansas, right?
yes, correct.
Cal's going to give him the ball. Cal's got that high pick and roll system suited for a guard with that kind of quickness.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of kid we watch his shot making kind of progress all season long, similar to an A cuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and JJ Andrews, he's going to Arkansas as well. He's a nice athlete, but he looks like he looks like what Carter Knox looked like as a true freshman. Just a guy who's lengthy, who's got some athleticism, has some skill, but probably not going to have the physical, size to be able to be a big time impact guy as a freshman. And I think that's most of these freshmen. So to me, I think that Louisville is in a good spot. I know they have a lot of guys to replace. I know there's still questions about what they're going to do with Mo Kamara, what they're going to do, with London Johnson. But I think that where you're going to make your hay this year is how you handle that portal. Now, I know we're going to be getting on out of here, Rome, soon. So let me ask you, I know that the portal does not officially open up, even though apparently Tennessee got a commitment earlier today. I don't know how that happened, considering that the portal doesn't open until April 7th. But the kid from Belmont, the forward from Belmont, apparently has already committed to Tennessee for next year. Um, but who are
That
the guys that you are keeping an eye on, or who you would love to see Louisville kind of start this class with? Who's just a couple of guys that you want to see?
I mean, I don't really know necessarily the kind of names that we're going to be in for. I think
Yeah,
the big from Alabama is a
yeah,
name that I would be in for.
yeah,
Um, if the car kid
yeah.
from
Eight
Baylor,
Sherrill, eight
yeah,
Sherrill.
if the car kid from Baylor somehow doesn't go to the draft,
Yeah.
I'd
Oh
like
yeah,
to
I would love to see that.
I'd like to get on that car kid from Baylor if you could. Um,
What do you think about the big man from Georgia? Um, um, the,
Cyril,
yeah. So Samto Surreal.
Santo Sorrell. I mean, I think he's got the motor and the size that you want, right?
I've
I don't
heard that
know.
he's gonna make a big chunk of change.
That's
Would
the
you rather
thing is,
like him or have Wilkerson the guard from there?
I think Wilkerson's more suited for a Pat Kelsey system. I say that. I want the Cyril kind of a
Yeah,
size, but I want one that I know can for a fact finish those lobs at the rim. You know what I mean, and finish
yeah.
those blocks. He did it at the he did it at times. You know, I just for that kind of money, I'm like, okay, hold on, you know, whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey,
But
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna say something real controversial, Rome. Give me the dude who's down the street at Georgia Tech. Give me Ndongo before you give me Samto Surreal, because
I
I
feel
think
that
Ndongo has got the defensive
I see,
ability,
and defensively and Dongo, I like more.
and
Offensively,
He's offensively more skilled
uh,
than Surreal as well.
he's also, but I feel like offensively he uses his last. I think offensively he uses athleticism better than Dongo
Yes,
does.
yes.
I think he's still more limited too, though.
Yeah, well, he's not as tall, so he's not dunking on people, but he can step out, he can hit a mid-range shot, he can handle it pretty well, and he can step out a little bit.
He can.
Like
He did hit a few. He hit a few this
like
year. They were bad. Also
and he's
worry.
gonna
I
be
worry.
cheaper.
I
And he's
worry
gonna
about
be
that's the thing. He
cheaper.
will be cheaper. But I worry about the losing basketball though. Like you got to look into the losing basketball he's been playing the last 2 years and make sure he wasn't a culprit in that reasoning for that. Right.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
if you can get him on the cheap, yeah. I just worry about the losing basketball. I think I like him more than Cyril though. The Cyril.
yeah,
But that's also because I'm feeling like he's going to be like a if you know if he's asking for 1.5 million or something crazy like that, then
yeah. All right, and last question for you. Should Louisville focus on the big men first, or do you go out there? I know that they thought they had Quinn Ellis in the bag. Now that looks like that's not going to happen. Do you focus on the big men first, or do you get your guards?
get the guards first.
Okay.
Get the guards first. I think the bigs have been going late in the portal for a reason. You know, there's been bigs. I feel like the last cream of the crop's always the bigs. You're
Yeah.
going to have the opportunity. The bigs are going to be going around on the market the most, seeing who's going to give them the most playing time, who's going to give them the most money, who's going to buy into what they want to do the most, who's going to throw me the most lobs, right? Point
Yeah.
guard just wants to know if he's starting or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It,
I
do you have any point guard out there that you like that now that Quinn Ellis looks like it's not going to happen? Is there
Dylan
anybody that you
Darling,
Dylan Darling?
he's
Well,
not going
he
to
ain't leaving
Louisville.
Coach Patino. Yeah,
I
he
know he's
definitely
not.
ain't leaving Coach
That's what
Patino.
Mike said
But do
too.
you like the kid, the Jackson Shellstad kid from Oregon?
He's good. I like him. I think you get something better. I think you can get somebody better here. I think there's going to be a couple of names that pop up that are a little bit more attractive defenders. I feel like,
I love
but
KJ Lewis. That's the dude that
KJ Lewis is the. I wanted him last year. I
KJ
wanted
Lewis
him
is a
last year.
dog. He is a dog.
He's going to command a check too.
Yeah.
What's the kid's name? Bird.
Oh yeah, from San Diego State.
SDSU. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
But I said like for him, it's like I need a true like I'd like a really good shot creator alongside of him if that's the kind of
yeah.
guard you brought in as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it, Raashaan. I know people aren't. I think it may be a hot take to some. Give Woolley what he wants.
Really? Hey,
Okay, if you can,
that was
if
I
you
forgot to
can,
ask that earlier. So
if
you say give Willie what he
if you
wants.
can confirm, if you can confirm, if you can factually confirm what he's getting offered, and it's not
Ooh.
over $1 million, if it's
Oh,
not, you know,
I think he's gonna get 1.5 from somebody. I think the SEC is gonna come get him. LSU
well, it's like
or Mississippi
I'd be
State.
making sure he knows he's got 850 and a starting spot here if he wants it.
Now, if you can keep him for under a mil ticket, absolutely, I would do that. I would agree. I just personally feel that somebody's gonna.
I think he already passed up more money last
y-
year to come
Yeah,
here.
I think he's trying to
So
get
if
a
that's the
bag.
case, I don't think he's gonna do
Yeah,
it twice in a row.
I think he's
But if
gonna
he's
end up
not getting
somewhere in
those
the
kind of
SEC.
offers, yeah, it's Arkansas or Alabama. I can see it
Arkansas,
already.
Alabama,
They're gonna come in
LSU. I could see any of those.
and they're gonna let him play like he did in Kennesaw State, and he's gonna average 20
Yeah,
points.
Yeah, I could see it.
And he's gonna average 2 steals as well because he's bought in, and he's, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna hate him.
Yeah, I know that's your boy, but yeah, I was gonna ask about that. But Rome, I appreciate you taking some time, man. I know you got you're a busy man. You got a million things going on, brother. But thank you so much.
Got gifted some tickets tonight, Rashawn. Got gifted some
Did
tickets to
you?
see the movie Hail Mary.
Nice, nice. Okay, hey, you have to let me know how that is. I'm planning on going to see it Friday, so
I'll let
I
you
need to
know.
know how that is. I want to check that out, Ryan Gosling. So enjoy it, man. Have a good night, Rome. I tell you what, we're gonna try to do a breakdown since the 7th is when the portal opens officially. I'm sure we'll get a lot of news out there. We're gonna try to do a
Yeah, that
breakdown.
night it'll be a great night to do
Yes, we're
it.
going to try to do it this same time next week. So, Roman, thanks so much for everything. Thanks so much to all you guys for checking it out. Hope you appreciate it. Make sure you check out Wake Up 502 every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m., only on Big X Sports Radio. For Haven Harrington, Roman Kelly, this is Raashaan Myers saying, without struggle, there is
There is no
peace,
progress.
y'all. Thanks so much.